Vlogcast may occasionally contain explicit content that makes it not safe for work or for minors. It also doesn't provide an excuse to use the same words on Bay 13. Normal Big Footy rules still apply.
Alright, so this is the Vlogcast for round 15. The emotionally checked out Tiger Starburns is here, and I'm joined by the suburban netballer from Collingwood, Morgan Ashley.
Hello.
And making his return, the Hawthorn nomad Penal.
Howdy.
Goo or tears? We'll go straight into it. What do we got?
I have goo for my newfound Twitter fame. I don't know how to use Twitter very well. I usually think that no one's listening.
Bit like here?
Yeah, well, it's a bit like just standing out the front of your house and yelling. No one cares. But somehow I managed to get 52 likes on a tweet, and that's unheard of for me. Like, I don't have very many followers, but 52 likes is a fair amount. And even managed to get 5 retweets.
Oh. So what did you say?
I said, why is Dale Thomas so salty? He chose to leave and go to our most hated of enemies for money. Of course he will get booed. The faux tough guy act is embarrassing for a player who was once loved and admired. Enjoy your week off. You deserve it.
What did he do to get a week off? I barely watched the game.
He hit Greenwood in the head.
Oh, dickhead. I think he got the ultimate comeuppance, though, in the end when it was revealed that,
got
whether
the
deliberately or not,
comeuppance.
Mason Cox didn't know who he was.
Yeah. And had to ask it. Well, Eddie Maguire asked him what Daisy said, and he said, "Who's Daisy?" And he goes, "Oh, you mean number 39." What a fantastic comeback. But Mason's got some chops when it comes to that. Yeah. I liked his tweet this week when he asked when the AFL were going to transfer the $1,500 to him because an umpire touched him. So he sent out a tweet with the clip of the video of Dean Margetts touching him and said, "Do you want my BSB and account number?" to the AFL. So Mason's been running with some zingers on Twitter, which is good. But yeah, I'll be really famous soon on Twitter, guys.
Yeah, too famous for us.
No, don't forget where you came from.
Make sure you tweet out our episodes to the 52 people so that it's the only way to get more listeners, because Dan's alienated all the rest.
I didn't realise that taking the piss out of Dale Thomas was the way to get some attention from the Collingwood supporters. I haven't been this well liked by Collingwood supporters ever, considering when I post on the board, I don't get that many likes.
Now you know the secret. You can go back into the Collingwood board, and every time you think you've misstepped, just go find something Daisy did on the weekend and mock it, and then everyone will be like, "Oh, she's not that bad."
Oh, look at her. She's good. One of us. One of us. Yeah, so that'll do.
Yeah, no, I don't think that one will get featured on AFL 360.
Look, it won't, but I've watched AFL 360 both days this week, and I think they might change the name to Collingwood 360. It's been a bit Collingwood-centric.
Well, that was because Eddie was on Monday night, just diverts it all the way back.
Yeah, that's good.
Was Eddie doing damage control over the Trelaw thing, or...?
No, I think it was fairly accepted that Trelaw was in a bit of strife.
Starburns, you know how you discussed how he's not very smart?
Yes.
Only he would be the person who thought he had double cramp. As soon as I heard that he had double cramp, and then they were like talking about, no, he's actually done something wrong, I'm like, yeah, of course that dumb cunt thought he had cramp. Like, this fits perfectly.
Have to admit, I laughed when I saw it just because the action was so...
The way he's kicking his legs like he's like a duck underwater.
Yeah, it's just watching him, I guess paddle his legs is the only way to describe it.
Well, how appropriate. He was paddling and he lied about having cramp. But Hutto laughed. If a player gets injured and you're a commentator, don't laugh.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Well, now, good point on that. Suck shit, Trelaw, you're injured. Yeah, no finals for you, Trelaw. So,
you're such a wanker, Starburns. You're an absolute wanker.
Well, I believe that trolling injured players, the precedent has been set on here. Someone might have done it in the past.
Someone's better at it than everybody else. You're a wanker. He didn't leave your club. He was never there. He had an opinion. It was wrong. You don't even believe what you're saying. You're just being an idiot.
I know, but it's like all of a sudden the realization hits that, oh, there's a Collingwood player injured in a bad way with, like, double cramp. You know, poor Treloar is double cramp. Most players can play through cramps. Like, what's his deal?
It's obviously not double cramp, dick brain.
Maybe you can speak to Nathan Freeman about how to rehab.
Maybe you should go to St Kilda. I heard their doctors are much better than ours. Or maybe they wouldn't have been rubbing it so fucking vigorously, trying to get him back onto the ground. Morons. Anyway, sorry, we're still at Gore Tears.
I don't blame Hutto, though, for laughing about it, because it did look humorous, and it looked kind of innocuous at the time. I mean, probably thought afterwards, yeah, he's probably done a hammy, but just in the moment, it was funny.
Jack Reebolt concussed himself and then crawled up the stairs, and I think we all thought that was funny, despite it being a serious head injury that can have lifelong effects.
Well, he looked like a cat. He was trying to sneak back out onto the ground. Maybe if I crawl, they won't see me.
Penal, do you want to go next?
Yeah, I've got some tears, and well, Dan's not here, so I guess I'll have to take his role of complaining about things that happen on public transport. And so, look, if you've decided that, you know, enough's enough and you're going to end it all, take a leaf out of Anthony Bourdain's book, do it in a fucking hotel room or something. Don't jump in front of a train, because that's like the most selfish thing you could do, because you ruin everyone's day. You ruined my Friday night, whoever you were, and some poor train conductor and no doubt bunches of passengers are going to be left scarred and traumatized as a result of what you chose to do rather selfishly.
Yes, fuck you, dead person.
I think you all kind of know where I'm going there, so I've said what I need to say, and just... People
who are on the brink of suicide aren't the most thoughtful of other people's feelings.
No, that's sort of...
Throw that out there. That's sort of how they get to that point. In saying that, don't kill yourself in a hotel room. Someone has to come and find you. That's awful.
What you need to do is you need to just hire a boat and disappear out into the sea. Is this what we're saying?
Yeah.
Or
the old Harold Holt.
Yeah, go for a swim. They might name a pool after you.
No, but it's true though. The train drivers, apparently it's a big occupational hazard, because it's a fairly common way to go about it, that they have to go through counselling when that happens, because they can't do a thing to stop it.
No.
And yet they live with the guilt and the trauma afterwards, and
the blood splatter on the windshield. Ugh.
Yeah, like I did the first, initial stages of becoming a train driver, and my mum said to me, if somebody throws himself in front of your train, Morgan, what are you going to do about that? Like, you won't be able to handle that mentally, and I probably wouldn't.
That's when you gave up the dream of Toot Toot?
Yes, that was the end of the
Morgs
dream. Train? Yeah. I was going to drive the Tiggy train.
You'd have been one of those ones who get on the mic and start talking to the passengers, yeah?
Get out of the fucking doorway, cunts. I'd like to be a tram driver. Get off the fucking stairs. This is a rhino. Move. Ding, ding, ding.
This is a rhino. I'm going to have Flogstradamus tears, or preemptive tears, for what's going to occur in the next probably 4 hours, when I tell you, the Socceroos may or may not win, but even if they do, the French will fuck it for them. They will surrender, as
surrender monkeys,
as they are known to do. They will surrender the lead or just the game overall. You know what? And then regardless of what the Socceroos do, they'll be out, and we'll probably still hear about it for 3 more days about how Tim Cahill should have played against Denmark or whatever the fuck else they want to say.
I'm going to stick my neck out there with a prediction. Nothing surer. Australians are going to, roll over Peru pretty easily, 2-0. But that other game's just got 0-0 written all over it because they've got nothing to play for. They'll just take it easy. And, yeah, Australia's going out regardless, unfortunately.
Indeed. And
it's really disappointing because we've actually been okay.
Yeah, it felt like this was going to be a pretty bad World Cup. But they've put up a good fight with probably one of the lesser talented teams we've thrown up there out there in the last 4 that we've been to. Certainly not a pinch on the one that made the last 16.
But they played really well against France, and they played really well against Denmark.
They deserve to beat Denmark.
Yeah, and it should have been a draw against France, and that's really disappointing.
Yeah, just to have it out of hands at the moment, just the extra 1 or the extra 3 points from one of those games, just to be alive and not have it in someone else's hands right now.
Just so typical of that this is our lot in the World Cup.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate, I guess, the way the draw works, because now we're relying on France to do us a favour when they've already qualified. So in another parallel universe, you get 1 win, 1 draw, 1 loss. That's probably fair, and that's enough to take you through. But yeah. Not when one's qualified and the other only needs a draw.
Yeah,
it'd be good if we were coming up against France last with 4 points in the bank.
Correct.
Since I'm in the business of making World Cup predictions, I reckon South Korea are shoo-ins to beat Germany. It's something crazy's going to happen.
Well, that's because the German scout reports were all inaccurate.
They don't know who's who.
That's brilliant, because white people can't tell them apart, and so they wore different shirts at the training. That's what happened, right?
Yeah.
But it's been a pretty good World Cup so far, though. It's offered a lot more than footy has the last couple of weeks, that's for sure.
Yes. And it's set up for... And England are looking okay, so it's set up for their... I'm just waiting for their implosion. It's not the group... It's obviously not going to be the group stage this time. I'd love to see how it happens.
They'd probably come up against, Senegal or something. That'd be great.
Lose on penalties. Or own goal or something.
VAR. How would we like the VAR so far?
It's been good and bad.
The thing that I love is just some people can't take their glasses off. Like Craig Foster sulking about the penalty against France. That was a penalty. And it spawned a whole bunch of stories about, this wasn't the Lucas Neal one. This was legit. This was there. You just look like a dickhead when you try and argue that wasn't a penalty. I don't know.
Anyone got any thoughts on Lucy?
I don't know who Lucy is.
Penal? Do you enjoy Lucy?
I think she's great value. I've enjoyed her revolving door of outfits, and I know she's been the victim of some commentary on social media, but I don't see a problem with her accent or pronunciation of players' names. I think it's authentic, but it's maybe a little overdone, but it's authentic and comes from the right place. And if you compare it to, say, Brian Taylor going, Lord, 10 times a night, I know who I would rather prefer. Give me Lucy Zelic doing the European pronunciations over BT any day. And I'm normally a BT fan, so...
Anyway, I think let's go into the footy, and we'll move on to the reviews. We'll go to Melbourne shit in the bed against Port. I think it was widely acknowledged that Melbourne were the better side for pretty much most of the game, had most of the better players on the ground. At least Fox to do better on Fox Footy gave 3 votes to like Brayshaw and 1 vote to someone else from Melbourne. It was just like they did everything but win, whereas Port bank those wins where you're not the better side, and then they're always valuable because you normally have a couple of those a year if you're tracking all right.
Especially when it's sort of like a 8-point game.
Yeah.
But they won every start, but they didn't win the one that counts, and they had his score.
I thought you were going to say Hart.
Oh well, no.
Oh, that's a given that
It's a given that they lost that. They're going to lose that every week they play, unless they played against France. They are the actual definition of France in the AFL, dirty surrender monkeys.
They could make a streak DVD of that. Call it the Heartless streak.
I'm disappointed that France's anthem is Brisbane's song and not Melbourne's. Every time France's song comes on, I do sing. Go Lions, Brisbane Lions.
I sing the Beatles.
I was going to have Goo also for the carpool karaoke with Paul McCartney. It was fucking fantastic.
What do you sing?
He sang Penny Lane as they drove down Penny Lane, and he went and signed a brick on the wall that said Penny Lane. He performed in a pub in Liverpool as a surprise for people that were sitting there, and sang a few songs. He sang Let It Be in the car and told a story about how he wrote it. It was really beautiful.
Cool.
Worth checking out.
So Melbourne right now are back in that big logjam of teams on 8 wins.
Basically, their percentage from 9th, aren't they?
So basically, they could still miss finals
by 0.5% or less.
So, well, the question is not so much can they still miss finals. The question is in which interesting way are they going to miss finals this year?
After the siren in round 23. Max Gorn misses from 20 metres out.
Because
in the last game of the year, Melbourne play the Giants.
And that'll be the
mini elimination final.
Yeah.
And the Giants are a win behind Melbourne at the moment.
The only reason I don't want that scenario to play out quite that way is because if that happens, we'll get the cockheads who say we need a wild card weekend. And it's like, no, you dick. Because imagine if we had that every season. No, you dickheads. We don't need a fucking wild card weekend. 8 is enough.
We don't need a wild card weekend because if you're good enough, you make the finals, and if you're not, you don't. And if you're not good enough and you make the finals, that's because somebody cheated. But I wait with bated breath to see how they fuck it up. So Melbourne also, the week before that, they play West Coast at the Disco Stadium. The week before that, they play Sydney.
Jeez, they're gonna need it. They're gonna need to be in it's win to get in. It's gonna be the ultimate test.
They've still got to go to Geelong, Adelaide, and Perth before the year's out, and they play Sydney and Melbourne. So you could definitely see them having 4 losses there. So if
they won't lose the Crows, they got no resilience.
If they trip up on a banana skin team like St Kilda or something, then
did they play North again? Just restart the streak.
Well, so if you give them those 4 losses, the interstate trips, and then against the Swans, then it basically all comes down to that GWS game.
No, they play the Dogs though.
Oh yeah, there we go. Is it Etihad? Oh,
because I get the feeling you need 13 wins this year.
13 and a handy percentage too, I think.
Yeah. Oh no, it's at the G. Sorry, it's at the G.
Dogs like going outside. Let's move on if we've got nothing else on that.
They do play Fremantle at TIO Stadium as well.
Oh, they could miss out based on a Darwin trip.
Imagine that. They missed out because they sold a game. Fuck yes.
Richmond cost ourselves top 4 one of those elimination final years by dropping the Gold Coast Cairns game.
Carmichael?
I can't remember which year. Might have been the Carmichael game. But it does happen. Let's go to Speaking of falling back to the pack a little bit, West Coast were 2 rounds ago were 2 games clear on top, and now we're no longer top. No Kennedy, no Darling, no form.
All went downhill very fast. Downhill like skis. I didn't watch this.
I watched the soccer once it got to 50-1, and I went, fuck yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised, really, by this game. Just because, I mean, obviously West Coast, 2 big outs, but you would have thought there's enough quality there to get them over the line, but obviously not, because their team is a bunch of one-way running P-Hearts, and I guess they're possibly the Argentina of AFL teams, perhaps.
Look, for a team that was playing such good football, they peaked pretty early. They fired their best shots, and they're going to need to find something else if they want to go near it, because if you're losing to Essendon at home, this is not a good Essendon side.
Yeah, certainly.
Their ladder position is where they belong.
I thought Lewis Jetta did an excellent impersonation of Lionel Messi when he starred in that movie, The Invisible Man.
They didn't kick straight either, which doesn't help. Like they went the junk time comeback, but they just weren't close enough to pinch it. Like, it would have been lolsy if Essendon dropped it, but obviously they couldn't get it done. Concerning.
Yeah, they're not looking good for the spoon though.
No. Don't worry, neither's North. Speaking of spoons, let's go to the Bryans versus GWS. And look, pretty average game. There's obviously one huge talking point out of it. The Jeremy Cameron hit on Harris Andrews, which Cameron's just got 5 weeks for. What are our thoughts?
I thought he should have got 7. That's where I was comfortable with. 5 for the hit itself, and 1 for the fucking appalling legal defence and pleading not guilty to intentional contact, and an extra 1 for being a remorseless flog, pretty much. I didn't think he showed enough contrition, and the jury should have taken that into account.
I am completely opposite to you, Penal. I feel that being able to argue careless was completely reasonable, and probably was, in my opinion, that was what it was. It was careless. He goes to mark the ball, and in midair it's spoiled, and he braces for contact. Accidents do happen. He still should get 2 or 3, just because severe and all the other shit that went with it. But I thought 5 was steep. When you compare it to, that's 1 week less than what Tom Bugg got and Tom Jonas. Like, I don't know. It seems like they went overboard because they're scared that they're getting sued over concussions.
I just think the combination of his poor record, they don't really. I know the MRP doesn't take that into account, but surely the tribunal has discretion.
I think they're different
where
though.
Necessary. The combination of that and the legal defence, which was poor, and the just lack of contrition, should have combined to make this a real big one. This had to be a statement. It probably still is a big statement, but
I agree. I thought it was poor that Harris Andrews had to walk over to Jeremy Cameron.
Apparently that got a few noses out of joint.
Wasn't the best look to have to.
Hopefully Andrews is alright. The bleeding on the brain thing doesn't sound too good.
It sounds ominous, and you get why Brisbane, the club and the supporters kind of are a bit touchy about it and sort of out for blood with the tribunal, just because of what went down with Justin Clark, and having to see him retire due to concussion, and then the sort of worst fears with the Andrews incident. I guess once you hear internal bleeding and all that you fear that maybe a similar sort of outcome. So I just hope he's all right, and because he's actually a gun player, and
one of the reasons they will maybe turn it around.
Yeah,
eventually.
Because the initial prognosis probably doesn't look favourable towards him, playing again soon. So hopefully for the sake of that club, they can get him back and no lingering ill effects.
Fuck the club, just for his sake.
Well, yeah.
I just hope he's okay. I don't give a fuck about them.
We know that.
Of course we do.
We know you're not. We know you're not fond of your rivals.
No.
Biggest rivals.
Biggest
Get
rivals.
stuffed.
The only other thing I'd make mention of, Hodge turned the clock back a little bit in that game.
Didn't watch the game, but saw he topped the coaches' votes for this game. So, yeah.
And now we're going to give him another year.
Well, he was always doing 2 years, wasn't he? So
well, he signed for 2, but it's probably one of those ones where they could easily arrange a retirement at the end of 1 if he was, like, awful. It'd be irresponsible to sign him for 2. Like, that, you know what I mean?
So like what Pritis did last year? Almost.
Basically, I think, yeah, what Pritis did.
But, yeah, good on him, because he copped it a bit earlier in the year for his on-field performances, which isn't why he's there for, and so good on him.
Well, if he's playing, I think it is sort of what he's there for.
He's there to make the young men around him better.
I don't buy that. That's the shit that Bullshit tried to say about Sam Mitchell. If you want a coach, you can get a coach. If you want a player, you get a player.
He's there to make the young men around him better. So is he going to teach them how to drink, drive, and get away with it?
No, but you lead by doing. So
that's what we mean.
Mm.
Is he going to teach them how to drink, drive?
But surely by watching an ornament to the game, such as Luke Hodge, play his trade on the field, you'd be inspired as, say, you're one of those young draftees at Brisbane, you'd be inspired to say, yes, Hodgie, I will climb on your back, carry me to greatness. That sort of thing.
Carry me to greatness.
Lead and I shall follow. Which he couldn't do from the coach's box.
Yeah, no. Anyway, we'll move on from that to Collingwood Carlton. Obviously, we've discussed Treloar and that lolsy injury of his.
Lols.
What else happened in that game? Carlton were pretty brave.
Yeah, they were so brave. Ask Lingy how brave they were. Brave. Dale thought he was tough. We mentioned that. Curnow and Cripps were very good.
Hang on, who thought he was tough?
Dale.
Number 39.
Number 39 thought he was very tough. Yeah. I think Mason can be forgiven for not knowing who he was. It's not like he's known anything since Mason had an AFL career.
That was what I was thinking. I said it's like, yeah, Daisy's basically become
number 39.
Yeah,
he is absolutely irrelevant when it comes to who, like Mason Cox. Mason Cox doesn't need to know who you are. You need to know who he is, cunt. You haven't kicked 5 goals in your whole career there.
Fringe 22 player at a bottom 4 club for 5 or 6 years now. Yeah. If you were to tell someone new to the game, or, you know, a kid who maybe doesn't have a particularly great memory, maybe someone around the age of 13 or 14, go, once upon a time, Daisy Thomas was in the best 10 players in the league.
When they were fighting each other, if you went to somebody, one of these guys was the best player in the competition, according to some, and one of them is just learning the game from another country, they would have thought that Mason Cox was the better one.
Can you imagine like a sort of grandparent or something trying to tell his grandson about the time Daisy Thomas was a gun at Collingwood? Pretty sure they'd have that old fuck like shipped off to the dementia ward. Like, you just wouldn't believe it.
Like, I know it was only Grant Thomas who thought so, but he's the best player in the competition.
I thought it was Ross Lyons said it.
Oh, no, Ross Lyons, sorry. Sorry, I get my shit truck St Kilda coaches confused. Sorry.
Anything else out of that game?
Look, it was a shit game to watch. It was ugly and boring, but we got the 4 points, and we'll take them and move on. Yeah, no, there's nothing else.
Curnow's mark stiff not to get nominated for Mark of the Year.
Oh, very stiff.
Fucking hell. It wasn't even the best mark he took of the one that got nominated wasn't even the best mark he took of the day.
No. I don't know how the Mark of the Year, Mark of the Week system works, but it needs an overhaul. It's an absolute farce. Like, no one's actually taking this shit seriously. Yeah, they're just taking the piss now.
Like, Andrew Cracker went to jail and won, you know.
It was a good story.
Yeah, it was a very good story. Let's move on to North versus the Dogs. North pinched it, and to help us go through this game, we are joined by the White Knight of Redheads everywhere, Dan.
You started.
We are halfway through, man.
Couldn't you even wait for me, man?
The World Cup's on in 90 minutes.
We've been recording for 45 minutes.
All right. Okay.
We
all
waited
right.
a day. We've waited already a day.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's fair. Okay. Yeah, we won. Fuck the Bulldogs.
Did you enjoy
Did it
beating
the
your
hard
number
way.
one rival?
Are they our number one rival?
Well,
Who
you
is?
do have a bit of a paddles thing going on with Essendon, but in reality, yeah, the Dogs probably are, because you have that little cripple fight, that big footy cripple fight thing going. But
Oh, well, at least Charcoal Chicken's not sniggering this week.
it's always it is a thing where they both say, you're not our rival, we're better than that, and yet they both go at each other for that 1 week, like they're Hawthorn and Geelong.
I suppose so, but yeah, I don't think we're not the Jimmy and Timmy from South Park have it duking it out.
Really?
No.
Yeah, that's exactly what it seems like.
From the outside. Go.
It was a good win though. My throat was sore after the game from screaming.
Apparently Bevo's was too after the game.
Yeah, I heard about that.
No players' names were listed as to who he was yelling at, but I'm willing to bet money Mitch Wallace.
Mitch Wallace. You're gone.
It's just like,
See you later.
let's not name any names, but
The Bulldogs board made for very entertaining reading. There was like there was the 90% of people who were like, he's a fucking retard, blah blah blah, and then there was the 1% of, you can't call yourself a fan, blah blah blah. His dad was a great of this. I'm like, that doesn't matter.
he's our retard.
That doesn't matter one iota. What his dad did does not matter.
Yeah, do you think Carlton supporters like that with Silvani? Well, actually,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah, they are.
They
That's the
are.
problem.
No, he's not even a premiership hero, is he? He didn't play, but
No.
Yeah,
he's like Bob.
So he's like a poor man's Will Langford, because no matter how shit Will Langford is and continues to be, he always has that 2014 grand final to point to and say, yeah, I did that. A bit like Tom Boyd, except we're not paying Tom Boyd, $6 million.
And Tom Boyd's grand
well,
final was substantial.
Yeah, but Mitch Wallace, what's he done?
But
Well-
Mitch Wallace, that end.
He broke his leg for that club. Come on, you gotta give him a little bit of slack.
No one told him to.
He probably kicked it out on the floor on the leg that he snapped though.
Well, Jack Zeeble broke his leg. He probably kicked the goal at the leg that he snapped.
Unless you're breaking two at once, I'm not giving a fuck about you. Two at once or get the fuck out.
2 cramps. Double cramp.
Two cramp. Oh, double cramp.
Maybe Mitch had cramps in his leg. That's why he kicked it wide.
That's like, at least if he got injured, there might have been some reason as to why he kicked it 30 metres away from where he should.
Have you seen those Fox footy ads with the dark arts?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mitch Wallace, as soon as he kicked that, should have started doing the pointer or just done the hammy grab, or, pull up a bit lame. What else have we got out of this game?
We won, and it's a good feeling because we've had some close losses to the Bulldogs, and
Well, at least in
Brown
past years, Mitch
Star.
Wallace wasn't there to fuck it up for him, so maybe this was the difference.
yeah, Brown is a star. He's going to win the Coleman.
Brownie.
Brownie. Higgins might win the Brownlow. I'm getting it a bit. The lid's off. I'm getting it off.
And for Dan to take the lid off is a big move. It's like
That's a big
it's akin to me taking the lid off.
So who's winning the Norm Smith, Dan?
Oh gosh,
Sean Attlee.
Sean. He's the sort of guy that would do a Gary Rowan. He'd be that 8 disposal, no goal sort of guy.
I'm just trying to think of someone who would be like not that the Norm Smith gets won by an anonymous person anymore, but I'm trying to think of sort of
It's
someone.
fucking Ryan Clark.
Jed Anderson.
He's not a. Oh, that would be brilliant if Jed Anderson won. Oh, Penal. I'm glad you're here because the tide has turned. I'm back on the Anderson wagon now. I was off. He's gone. He's obliterated
Fucking-
Ryan Burt.
Backflipping like cooks in there, Dan.
He's
I
certainly
don't-
looking like a better deal for you guys than it was 2 years ago.
Looking. It's gone into space and it's out of here. There's no looking. It's gone.
Confirmed.
This is Burton's second year, and it's what
I don't
Anderson's
care.
sixth
Right,
or something.
Anderson was gone last year. He was gone.
Once we get to the end of both their respective careers,
So what you're saying, Dan, is that Anderson has one good year of football and one shit year of football under his belt, and Burton has one good year of football and one shit year of football under his belt. So
Yeah.
to choose a Dan favourite, it's a draw.
Anderson is coming from the depths of being just about delisted to becoming a regular best 22 player in a team that's probably going to play finals this year.
But hang on, we had to hear about Ryan fucking Burton every game last year. So Dan is entitled.
That's
So Dan is
because he
entitled. Go for
That's
it,
because
Dan.
he was the
Entitled
moral
bloke.
rising star.
No, go for it, Dan.
No, fuck off. No, I'm entitled to vote, even if I did jump off the wagon and say he was useless. Thank you, Hawthorn. You owe us one because it's usually North getting screwed over with these reject players that you give us, and we have to hand over draft picks.
I can't wait till he bows out with depression.
Can't wait till he gets sad.
Sad as fuck.
No, don't say that. Don't. No.
No, he looks very happy to be at North.
Does look very happy. All right, he hasn't got the Jonathan.
Now
Hay.
that Dan's backflipped, he's going to get sad as fuck. It's going to happen.
No, he's going to get on the turtles or something, and then just
On the turtles.
Oh.
Dan, he doesn't look very indigenous, just saying.
Well, he looks indigenous.
He does not.
Fucking
You're
hell.
a liar. You're a liar.
No kidding. He's got brown skin and brown hair. What are you talking about?
Does not.
Brown skin and brown hair.
He does not. This just fits your agenda this week. He does not look indigenous. You're full of shit.
He plays for North, so he can't be one of Dan's fake indigenous.
He's not Felton Roberts, but he's far, far, far more indigenous than Nathan Drummond is. If you put Nathan Drummond and Relton Roberts in a blender, you would get Jed Anderson.
It'd have to be a big fucking blender.
You wouldn't get Jed Anderson. You get like someone fatter than that still.
Jed Anderson and Jai Simpkin put together.
Well, maybe you would probably get the Relton Roberts of 2018. I don't know, but still. He looks... come on, that's... Morgan, you must be blind or something.
He looks no darker than, say, Matt Fife.
No,
Yeah.
he
Dan.
doesn't. He looks no darker than those tanned Gold Coast players.
Hey, Dan, Cristiano Ronaldo has brown skin and brown hair. Is he indigenous too?
Unfortunately, on that. What are you talking about?
He's darker than... I'll tell you what, he's darker than Jed Anderson.
I love how he just let Dan not only cops the teach treatment, but he also gives us the paddle sigh. Anyway, let's move on from that game if we've got nothing else.
Good win. Good win by the Roos.
Hawthorn Suns didn't matter, but Penal, did you have anything?
O'Meara played well, so I guess a bit like the Anderson trade, that's now not looking like a disaster.
No, you still sold the farm.
He sold his kneecaps for a cup of coffee. We've already discussed this.
Given the injury history, we did overpay given what North paid for someone like Paul Ahern, who was a high draft pick that did a couple of ACLs.
You could have drafted another Ryan Burton if you didn't trade all those picks away, Penal.
We probably overpaid, but in the end it doesn't matter because O'Meara will probably give us more than what St Kilda get out of that pick 7 or pick 8, whatever it was. So at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what O'Meara does because we'll get to laugh at St Kilda, and that's great.
I just like to laugh at everybody. Talking points time. We begin with the major talking point from the weekend. There aren't too many talking points, but Adelaide took the soft option and called a press conference mid-Saturday afternoon to talk about the camp.
What the hell is that all about?
In a train wreck season, this might be the lowest point, or the most ridiculous point. Like, they've done some shit this season.
Certainly the dumbest point is what I'd call it.
Like, I can't think of a worsely managed thing off field since the St Kilda schoolgirl saga than the Crows camp.
This is a club that handled the death of their coach incredibly well. Incredibly well. Yet can't handle a press conference getting rid of Collective Minds.
It's interesting that you mentioned the Phil Walsh thing, because they talked about how this camp was, and all the shit that went with it was meant to build resilience. And as Dom Cassisi pointed out on Facebook, Cassisi said the purpose behind the Crows camp baffles him. Fair to say that they've shown to be the most resilient playing group over the past 3 years, especially on the back of losing their father figure and much-loved coach in such tragic circumstances. Their own management have totally respected the resilience and close bond they forged after a tough time. Like, that actually goes a little bit forgotten, because, yes, why did they need to be driven to the desert to go mentally strong?
It's spot on. Like, it's sad when fucking Dom Cassisi is the voice of reason, but he nails it in one, because they've shown incredible mental toughness, resilience, whatever you want to call it, over really a long period. One bad performance on grand final day doesn't really undo that. I mean, they're not the first, and they won't be the last team to put in a shocker in the grand final, and don't think it really justifies subjecting the player to some fucking Mossad-style torture camp. That's what it is, isn't it? It's basically like blindfolded for an extended period of time, played apparently the Richmond song wasn't played on repeat. They were very adamant it was only once. Nobody believes that.
Well, if you play it once and it's on auto repeat, then technically you have only played it once.
Plausible deniability.
Yeah, very lawyer talk.
It's very much like the fucking torture camps, like Guantanamo, where they blindfold them and play Barney the dinosaur, or like Cher or whatever they played him. Like,
my heart will go on.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was Celine Dion, not Cher.
That'll have me spilling secrets in no time.
Well, that fucking Barney song, kill me. Just kill me.
But it's the same ballpark. It's torture tactics to build resilience. And
whatever the deal is with the sort of Indigenous players that was being disrespected, there's no details around that still. Like, it's such an Essendon thing, though. Like, if this was a story that leaked and it didn't have the club's name attached to it, I would just instantly jump to the conclusion that this was Essendon, because it reeks of cutting corners and sort of trying to almost cheat your way ahead by taking a shortcut, basically, with the mental toughness thing.
How would someone's mental toughness be strengthened if you're blindfolded on a bus and you have to listen to questionable music? I would just be pissed off. I'd be like, get me off the fucking bus. I
guess the fact that you endured it and you came out the other side is meant to make you mentally focused and strong. I don't know. It's ridiculous. But the whole point of, they don't even need to be more resilient. They've been tested in ways no clubs have been tested. Like, it's not just Phil Walsh. There's the Dean Bailey thing. There's all sorts of, like, that club's had some stuff to deal with over the years. Like, if I'm thinking of a group that, when Penal says Essendon, if I'm thinking of a group that needs some fucking resilience training, it's fucking Melbourne. Yet they're the ones who cancelled their camp.
It's true. They did. And that wasn't even a bad camp. It was just it was
one that's been done plenty of times before. But the fact that Adelaide came out and addressed it and basically said, it's not a big deal, but we are severing ties. Like,
well, technically, they didn't address it. They sort of danced around it.
They chose to talk about it. Like, they fronted the media and John Pike got all like fucking Ross Lyon Darty eyes towards the end too.
What's wrong with his head, by the way? It's got a bit of leaning Tarapeza about it. it's shaped. It's pointing at 11 o'clock.
Maybe he's got a permanent tilt like on his neck. Makes
the rape eyes look more creepy.
It's just the fact that they're making this move that's meant to be. I think they think it's an offensive move or a getting on the front foot move, but all of it is the way it came out was so defensive. It's just like they are like
it raises more questions about what happened because they danced around the questions regarding the camp. They didn't discuss anything of any detail. So I mean, what was the point? I mean, it was odd enough that they chose Saturday afternoon, right in the middle of round 14.
No, that's not odd. They took out the trash. Yeah, they tried to bury the story amongst a bunch of games, right?
I mean, who does that? Who calls a press conference on the weekend during a round of footy? And then they decide to say
someone who's got something
nothing
to hide.
for 20 minutes.
Yeah, you've got something to hide. You don't want it getting traction in the mainstream, so it's like fucking saying on Christmas Eve or something to the government, hey, here's a bunch of tax rises or something.
Look, Dan, just think of it this way. If they held this press conference on a Monday, it would be talked about all the way through to the end of the week in the news cycle. Doing it on the Saturday, it's sort of gone by Monday.
We're talking about it.
I know, but that's because we like to take the piss out of clubs doing stupid shit like press conferences like this. This is material we barely have to write.
Yeah, all the fucking mainstream AFL media has moved on to, I think today they're writing Jeremy Cameron or Hitler, who was worse. And by 3 p.m. tomorrow, they'll have moved on to something completely different.
So you're suggesting that they have purposely done this on a Saturday so that there is no...
It's a tactic.
No shit.
Well, then that's an indictment in itself that they're trying to just sort of push this under the rug.
But that's sort of the point. They don't know how to deal with it, but they want to get a message out to clearly their fans in South Australian media to keep their heads above water, but they want to avoid the national media.
Being open and honest.
Well, because they've fucked up and they don't know what to do. They're in absolute damage control. They are so fucked and they have no resilience to get through it. Like, did anyone hear the bit about Burton saying that people were laughing about it on the bus? I'm like, there's no way people were laughing on the bus.
They weren't laughing. No way.
No way.
Couldn't have their phones taken away. Eddie Betts' wife was about to pop one out and...
Two, actually.
Didn't have his phone. Jeff Twinsby.
Mm-hmm.
And this group was behind the power stance, so it's like, what did this collective mind do exactly that was positive? It seems everything was just like, it's almost like some Port Adelaide double agent has decided, how best can I fuck the Camrys?
Oh, fucking don't give the Camry fans any ideas, because like they're all having a little blubber wank about the fact that their We Want Answers AFC campaign seems to have worked, because obviously they're claiming credit for the press conference. But just don't let them get any ideas about that being a Port Adelaide plant.
No, I think that would make it even better, don't you?
We'll never hear the end of it.
Anything else on the Camry Crows camp, the KKK? It sounds like the KKK. Maybe that's what they called it to offend the Indigenous players. Camry Crows camp.
Maybe they should have sent to a crucifixion burning session out in the desert somewhere where they had some of KKK meeting.
What did they do to upset the Indigenous players?
I don't know, like maybe they use footage of dead people. That's apparently a thing.
That's what I thought.
Mm.
What, they showed pictures of Phil Walsh?
Oh, no, you know what?
Well, why would his wife care?
Yeah, because his wife's waiting. Maybe, oh shit.
Ooh.
Maybe they did.
Hang on.
That's a bit, that's very insensitive.
Guys, have we just broken a story?
No,
have we
we
just
have.
broken a story for reals?
Yeah, I think I just broke a story. You heard it here first.
Morgs, tweet it out, Morgs.
You know what's great? We're going to have to wait 3 days for anyone to hear this and someone will fucking beat us to the story.
Oh, you know what that means, Starburns? All-nighter edit.
That's like a backdoor hack story you've come up with. What if they did? That's
It's
messed
plausible.
Well, it's not really that messed up, but
No, I think it sort of is. Like, to show the video and go, we're here about building team. Remember how much it sucked and how you came together after that? Nothing else on the Crows camp?
no, I'm so glad we got to the bottom of the story. Well done.
I feel we're not done either.
Yeah.
Once this story comes out, it'll keep going.
Yeah, someone's just gonna, like, maybe Brett Burton gets knifed in the back or something and gets sacked from the Crows, and then he senses
if Collective Mind, this so-called group, no longer has a contract with Adelaide, then who's stopping anyone from just asking them what happened on the camps?
Well, Collective Mind aren't going to go say, we tortured these people in the desert.
Yeah, because
Hire us.
They'd want to get hired by other people in the future. But yeah, maybe if someone gets knifed and gets made the scapegoat, probably Brett Burton, they will
Stop saying
try and-
knifed.
He's doing it on purpose.
Shit. I actually wasn't, which is kind of the sad thing, because I'm not aware. I wasn't aware enough.
No.
I wasn't aware enough to make the connection until Morgs pointed it out.
I think I've made that. I think I've said that before. That, like, more recently after the event, made the.
At least I'm not in the cheer squad holding up a banner that says "A Murder of Crows."
Is that still there?
Knowing how insensitive and tone deaf that entire football club is, yes, probably.
No,
But
just
someone will do a book deal eventually. Is the point.
oh yeah, the player retirement
it's not
books.
text. It has to be all pictures. Like, this is Bus.
Tex,
This is Dead Walsh.
Tex got on the bus. Tex had a blindfold put on, and they played the Evil Tigerland song. Tex got sad as fuck.
Tex went to North.
Tex was jealous of Jake, who didn't have to catch the bus.
Tex was sad that Jake didn't have to catch replacement bus.
Because Jake's playing group told the club no.
Because they did not want to catch bus.
Parky looked at Eddie and said, "Give me your phone."
Eddie said, "But my missus."
I've just got a little sort of notepad on my desk, and I've just drawn a little picture of how I would imagine Tex drawing a picture. This is what a 5-year-old would do, but that's okay because that's Tex's mental age, and apparently mine as well.
We'll go to the questions. K4E's got a question,
Right.
which, no, Dan, you might like this one. Thoughts on the Bulldogs 97-98 prelim reunion held last weekend?
What an event that must have been.
They had a prelim final reunion.
Well, I don't know if the Dogs did, but certainly some of the players got together.
What kind of loser mentality shit is that? Let's all reminisce of the time we didn't make it into the grand final. That's crap. Who would want to do that?
Yeah.
I think you cheapen the idea of having a reunion like every 10 years for something or an achievement like a grand final.
Well,
Because,
not if you've got no achievements to...
But it's
then
A-okay.
you have no reunion then.
No, it's A-okay to have a reunion. Nobody needs to know about it.
Yeah, no,
Nobody.
exactly right. Like, it's clearly not a club endorsed thing, because no club's that stupid, maybe, like, not even St Kilda. But, yeah, just get together, hang out, don't tell fucking all your people on Channel 7 or Fox Footy, Jono and Darcy.
What years were this? 97 and 98.
Yeah, so the liver choke
Well,
years.
if I was the Adelaide Crows, I'd crash it and just shit on them.
I think they've got their own problems at the moment.
Oh yeah, they probably do, but still, I mean that's
They couldn't, because they couldn't all get on the same bus together. Without
that's loser mentality shit. That's
But did they go to have it last year, but they forgot, and then they went, "Oh, let's just combine the 2 years together"? Like,
Well, maybe because it's sad to do it 2 years in a row. I don't know.
it's sad to do it at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even a grand final loss, or, like, it's... The Dogs made a lot of prelims between flags. A lot of prelims.
Well, that's not the ultimate success, is it? You don't get...
I know, that's what I mean. Like, what...
You don't win the gold medal.
Will the 2009 prelim team, 2009 or 8, 9, 10 team have a fucking... I don't know. It's very silly to advertise it.
Celebrating mediocrity. Dumb.
Like, again, this is like, if any club was going to do this, probably Carlton or St Kilda, given their...
It's very St Kilda.
And recreate the stupid goal celebration that they had where Liver's been carried by his teammates and he's got his legs caught in between some other doofus that's holding him up.
If they had a cake for their reunion, that's what would be on the top of it. Liver being hoisted up. And the umpire signalling goal. Maybe that's what they do. Maybe they edit some footage together at the reunion. They project it up onto the TVs at whatever pub it is. And they have footage of an umpire signalling a goal and them all celebrating.
Just rewriting the history books.
Yeah. This is what it would have been like if we won, boys.
Yeah, isn't that depressing? Like, it just reminds you that you weren't good enough to go all the way. I wouldn't go. I wouldn't go.
Do you reckon the Crows will have a reunion for their bus trip? The We Survived collective mind?
Yeah. They've all got T-shirts. they got collective mind tattoos.
in the shape of a blindfold, or a person blindfolded. I think we've answered that question. Ilksy wants to know, what odds can he get for Dan to win Poster of the Year, considering he has negative 20 MVP votes from Collingwood versus Carlton?
Wow,
that wasn't part of the deal for me to get negative 20 if Collingwood won.
There wasn't any. Let's just.
Bullshit! There was a fucking deal. I got 20 points, and Dan didn't, but he didn't lose any.
No, there were requests made. There were no deals made.
There was a fucking agreement.
Give people points, Starburns. Don't be tight.
No, there was an agreement that you might get more for your efforts this year. No wagering of shit.
Oh, so instead of 5, we're going to get 6?
Yeah, well, just for that comment,
7,
yeah.
Maybe?
Yeah, just for that comment, I'll make it 6, not 10. Maybe.
Oh, totally worth it. I'm going to be here every Monday now.
Negative 14 for you, Dan. It'll be very difficult to work out how many people post on the Bay this year to put them at a certain ranking and you one below that, but we'll see how we go.
You atheist little shit.
What atheist little shit? What's that even mean?
I don't know. Carry on.
Actually, one other talking point, since I'm looking through the questions, Brendan Goddard at advanced laser therapy. Anything on that?
I feel sorry for his shrink.
What do you mean his shrink?
Probably gets pointed at every 5 minutes.
It's hair laser therapy. It's for his hair.
Oh,
he's not sad as fuck.
I said actual therapy. Well, it kind of would make sense if he actually did see a therapist, because he is a sad individual, because he always complains and blames everyone else's problem on somebody else.
Everybody else's problem on somebody else.
Nobody even said anything, Dan. Keep going.
Oh, shut up.
That time.
Brendan Goddard is regrowing his own hair. Okay. Well, you're a loser. You're going bald.
Leave him alone. He's got red hair. He's had a tough life.
I have a question about this hair thing. They don't regrow back your actual hair. They put plugs in your scalp, right?
It's a wig that's sewn in, isn't it?
So when they say regrow your own hair, it's lawyer talk for saying it's not real hair, but it's actually your hair.
I believe so, yeah.
Oh, well, then that's bullshit. I mean, that's just...
False advertising, is it, Dan?
If I was playing, I would pinch strands out of his hair just to piss him off.
My precious.
Can you be suspended for pulling a player's hair?
I think he'd get a fine first, but I guess if you ripped his scalp off, that might go up to severe impact.
If it's Brendan Goddard, it's worth it. Just do it. Just yank his scalp, the hair out of his scalp.
Anything else on that?
And yes, he should see a therapist too. The hair one's optional, but he should see the...
Say hi to Hodgepodge for us.
Yeah. Fuck, yeah.
Hey, you could go in together with him.
You both have issues with taking responsibility.
Just because you've got claim that I do does not mean...
we won't claim it, there's evidence.
Once again, you're not claiming responsibility, you're blaming us.
This week on the Bay, what do we got for Thread of the Week?
You know, I could have voted for this last week, but I'm going to give the Photoshop thread on the main board my nod because it's got a lot of Richmond posters triggered. That makes me happy. So that can have my nom.
I want to nominate. It's a bump. It's a bump of it. But if you read through it, the footy folklore that you would like to have confirmed or that you wish was true thread on the main board. Yeah, that one's not a bad read. Some of the stories in there.
I'll go that.
Do we have any Bay threads? I reckon there was some, but I've sort of...
I like to move over shit lips. I've only just clicked on the thread. I like the title. I thought the title was funny, and I've just clicked on the thread now. It's just a Ed Curnow. It was a Charlie Curnow. I keep confusing the two. This is the new marking sheriff in town. Pissed off Jeremy Howe.
Oh, please.
Pork's thread WorkSafe brought in to investigate Adelaide wasn't bad.
Well, I like the main board one. Lots of triggered Richmond posters. Like, how dare you disrespect Alex Rance?
Oh, no. Oh, Adam Trelaw deserves to be laughed at for doing 2 hamstrings because people made fun of Alex Rance's diving. That is the correlation on the Richmond board at the moment.
You can't lecture anyone about injury trolling.
I can do whatever I like.
There was another decent Bay thread. Oh yeah, Zaka, Melbourne won't make the finals. I thought that was pretty good.
Get in fucking line, mate. I made this call before the season started.
Well,
Get in line.
No, it's more bold for him to make the call when they're fucking still 5th on the ladder.
Well, it would have been bold.
When they were fucking 3rd, I was still making the call.
Oh,
yeah, that's when it would have been bold.
Not after they lost 2 in a row, you fucking hero.
See, even I'm late to the party with that call earlier, so...
Every week I've been making the same call. Same thing. Giving it to Bosk for being a fucking goo-chugging loser. And then in a PM this week, he's like, I heard ya. Stop it. Blah. Like, stop saying it. Fuck off, idiot. You don't just get to say stop trolling me. It doesn't work like that.
I think we've just sort of morphed into Flog of the Week there seamlessly.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bosk, you don't get a Flog Shadama's tag for saying Jeremy Cameron's going to get suspended. Water is wet. Fucking hell. Yeah, okay, Bosk.
Flog of the Week. Bosk.
Who else?
And I revealed PMs. Suck a dick.
Any other Flog of the Week dishonourables?
Dan thinks Hodgepodge got dropped on his head.
No, because he did. Seriously, I'm for a time, I was happy to accept this man's stupidity because he would make me laugh occasionally, but now he's...
Oh, he used to be an excellent troll. He's broken. He's sad as fuck. He needs to turn coat to North.
No, he doesn't. We don't need any more sad losers nor supporters on Big Footy.
I think that's exactly what you need.
No, we don't. We don't need any more, and I don't need more people following me around on Big Footy trying to be my friend. Hodgepodge just is now a Richmond supporter and is pro AFL women's, and he's just a weird.
He's not. He's being facetious though, but it's just a dumb troll.
He's gotten weird. He's no longer funny anymore, and I'm just sick.
No,
of
he's
shit,
not.
So.
He's very rarely funny.
The AFLM stick was funny for about 15 minutes, but it's
getting old.
Overstayed its welcome.
Yeah, so Bosk wins. I got no dishonourables. I think I had one, but I've forgotten.
I might have a dishonourable for who's the guy who bumped this thread? Hurdy Lannister bumped the thread by Roby, which was innocent enough in itself, but I think it deserves a dishonourable for me because I saw Roby's name in Avatar and thought Roby was back, but I was disappointed to learn it was just a bump.
He hasn't been excited for a couple of years, unfortunately.
What I'm saying is bring back Ruby.
Bring back the beans.
Bring back the beans. Make the beans great again.
Bean coin's just not the same. Without some bets to place them on, and we need the power rankings for that.
I'm going to give a dishonourable to everyone who ruined the werewolf game that was supposed to start 2 days ago. That includes One-Eyed Saner, Brab, Chappie, Nakaya, and Natural Disaster. Between the five of you, you've ruined it.
Is this SFA talk?
No, it's werewolf talk.
What the fuck is werewolf?
It's Survivor, Dan.
Oh, it might as well be in the same fucking...
It's not Survivor.
Oh, the new
Werewolf.
Survivor trailer is excellent, by the way. I saw it last night.
So, Penal, who do you know that's on the cast? Let's talk.
Well, all the ones that were revealed in the trailer, obviously, and obviously the two that we
I'm going to start doing the tips.
I hear that Mo Hope, instead of catching a bus, went on Survivor, and that built her resilience down.
Yeah,
Look forward for big things
Brian.
next year.
Fantastic. Richmond versus Sydney. I'm tipping
Brian Lake, Jackie Glazier.
Bulldogs versus Geelong. I'm tipping Geelong. Carlton versus Port Adelaide. I'm tipping Port. Adelaide versus Weagles. I'm tipping the Weagles. Suns versus Collingwood. I'm going to tip the Suns. Giants versus Hawthorn. I'm going to tip Hawthorn. Melbourne versus St Kilda. Melbourne. Essendon versus North. And the last game, no, thank you.
There was so many games.
I love how we've finally cracked the code as to how to get down to just straight up tip without any nudging.
There we go. Easy.
Survivor talk at this week on the Bay section.
So it'd be good to have nine games again.
But Penal, I don't know if I've told you, but I'll tell you again. Got to watch Survivor South Africa.
Well, you got to throw your TV out the window.
I'll send you a PM, Penal, with the playlist links.
You mentioned a couple of weeks ago there was that fan-made one. Are you watching any of...
Survivor Maryland? Yeah. I've got 2 episodes to watch of that tonight after the soccer.
Is it good or worth
it's
watching?
Brilliant. It's brilliant. Survivor Maryland.
Survivor Maryland? What, do they have to live? Do they have to live in the fucking...
No, they're just at college. They're on campus at Maryland University.
I thought it was going to be set in like Baltimore, like The Wire.
Well, Survivor Baltimore.
You got to survive on the corner.
Survivor Baltimore, also known as just Baltimore.
Baltimore. Living in Baltimore.
You live on the corner, and at the end, Omar has spoken. Anyway, this was the Flogcast for round 15. Starburns joined by Morgs.
Farewell. Go the Socceroos.
Dan.
Oh, yeah, look, can't wait to watch Socceroos when they don't play Tim Cahill and we don't kick any fucking goals.
Dan, miss my tears. And Penal.
Adios. South Korea will beat Germany.
Thanks for listening, and we will see you all next week.